Hey, welcome to another video. So today we're going to be going into the Blood and Cheese incident from both the books and from the House of the Dragon TV show. But before we begin, please be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, a quick reminder that anyone who becomes a join member at any level will get a thank you banner at the beginning of every video and a shout out at the end. Thanks, let's jump straight into it. Not much is known about Blood's past, and his real name is lost to history. All that is known about him is that he was a butcher as well as a sergeant of the Gold Cloaks, the city watch of King's Landing. After he brutally murdered a whore while in a drunken rage, he was stripped of his gold cloak and dismissed from the city watch. Blood began to spend time in Flea Bottom, the poorest part of King's Landing. Cheese's past is a complete mystery, along with his name, which along with Blood's is lost to history. At an unknown point, he was hired as a rat catcher. According to Mushroom, the court fool, Cheese became really familiar with the secret halls, hidden doors, and tunnels that had been secretly built throughout the Red Keep during the reign of Maegor the First Targaryen. So going into the instant of Blood and Cheese according to the books first, after Prince Lucerys Velaryon was murdered by his uncle Prince Aemond, which made the latter a kinslayer, Rhaenyra Targaryen, Lucerys' mother, collapsed in grief. In response to his nephew's death, Daemon Targaryen, Rhaenyra's husband/uncle, who is away at Harrenhal in the Riverlands, sends her a message via a raven that her son would be avenged. Through his spy master Mysaria, Blood and Cheese were employed to kill one of the sons of King Aegon II. Thanks to Cheese's knowledge of the Red Keep secrets, the duo was able to infiltrate the Red Keep through a forgotten passageway. Cheese then led Blood into the heart of the Red Keep, successfully avoiding the guards. Reaching the Tower of the Hand, they crept up through the walls before slipping into the chambers of Dowager Queen Alicent Hightower. There they bound and gagged her, while Blood strangled her bedmaid to death. Blood and Cheese then waited for the arrival of Queen Helaena Targaryen and her children, as the two assassins knew that it was the queen's custom of taking her children to see their grandmother before putting them to bed every evening. That night, when Helaena arrived with her 3 children, Blood killed her guard before proceeding to grab her eldest son, Prince Jaehaerys, while Cheese took hold of her younger son, Prince Maelor. Though Blood warned Helaena that she and her children would die if she screamed, it is said that the queen remained calm. When she demanded the identity of the 2 assassins, Cheese stated that he and Blood are debt collectors, and that a debt has been owed, an eye for an eye, a son for a son. But he assured Helaena that neither she nor anyone else would be killed. When he asked her which of her sons she wanted them to kill, the queen pleaded with them to kill her instead, which was turned down, and Blood reminds her that it has to be a son. Cheese warns Helaena that Blood will rape her daughter, Princess Jaehaera, out of boredom if she doesn't make a choice soon. When she was once again forced to make an impossible choice, under the threat that all her children would be killed, the queen tearfully chose Maelor. It is unknown why Queen Helaena chose her youngest son over the eldest. She believed that Maelor was too young to understand, or maybe it's because Prince Jaehaerys was the king's firstborn son and heir. Seeing that she had chosen Maelor, Cheese whispered to the boy's ear, mockingly saying, "You hear that, little boy? Your mama wants you dead." He then grins at Blood, who signals the hulking man to kill Prince Jaehaerys, in which he decapitated the boy with a single swing of his sword, to Queen Helena's horror, and she began to scream. Blood and Cheese fled with Prince Jaehaerys' head, and they evaded capture from the castle guards by once again using the Red Keep's secret passageways. 2 days later, when attempting to escape King's Landing, Blood was seized at the Gate of the Gods, while Jaehaerys' head was found hidden in one of Blood's saddle sacks. While being tortured, Blood revealed that he intended to take the prince's head to Harrenhal, where he would collect his reward from Prince Daemon. He further gave a description of Mysaria, but didn't reveal her identity. Blood died 13 days later. The City Watch and their commander, Sir Luther Largent, searched all throughout King's Landing for Mysaria and Cheese, but the 2 were nowhere to be found. Due to having witnessed her eldest son's death, Queen Helaena was left entirely broken on the inside and outside, and she immediately fell into depression while slowly descending into madness, eliminating her as a dragon rider. She even went as far as to intolerate the presence of Prince Maelor, for she had chosen him to die, though Jaehaerys was killed instead. King Aegon, in rage and grief over the death of his eldest son, combined with his paranoia, immediately ordered all the rat catchers in King's Landing to be hanged, and the hand of the king, Otto Hightower, had to replace them with 100 cats. The assassination of Prince Jaehaerys by Blood and Cheese had a strong negative effect on not only House Targaryen, but also nearly all of Westeros. At this event is what ultimately led to the beginning of open war between the Blacks, the supporters of Rhaenyra, and the Greens. Later, the death of Prince Jaehaerys alongside Prince Maelor, who died during the Dance of the Dragons, would come to have a lasting impact on Rhaenyra herself, as the death of both the young princes is one of the main reasons the Smallfolk and the Shepherd rose in a riot against Rhaenyra, who was also accused of murdering Queen Helaena, who actually committed suicide. Like his novel counterpart, nothing is known about Blood's past nor his real name. All that is known is that he joined and began serving House Targaryen as a member of the Goldcloaks and developed a strong dislike of House Hightower, while Cheese's past is also unknown along with his name. All that is known is that he was an indebted gambler who served the Targaryen household as a rat catcher, and as he worked, he became familiar with the secret tunnels and passageways that were built on the orders of King Maegor the Cruel. So, in House of the Dragon, following the death of Lucerys Velaryon, after he was accidentally killed by Prince Aemon Targaryen, Rhaenyra Targaryen was left devastated and enraged. Harboring a strong hatred for Aemon for her son's death, she vengefully declares her desire to have him die as payback. Secretly smuggling himself to King's Landing, Daemon bribes Blood, who is busy doing his service as a Goldcloak, into letting him into the capital. They then meet Cheese as part of Flea Bottom. Daemon hires them both to kill Prince Aemon, but if they fail to find him, then they had to kill a son for a son, as Daemon seeks to avenge Lucerys' death. Though he only paid them half of the money he owes them, he promised to pay the remainder of the bribe if they bring him the son's head. Having grown familiar with the secret tunnels that were built by Maegor the Cruel, Cheese, accompanied by his dog, used the passageways to lead Blood into the Red Keep. They pass through the castle's kitchen and then the throne room, where Aegon II is busy drinking and talking with his cronies. As they go through another secret passageway, Cheese hesitates and admits he doesn't know how to navigate the upper floors, and he fears that they'll be suspected if they walk around the royal chambers. He was forced into doing so after being threatened by Blood, though Cheese tells him that he knew of a secret stairway that led to the royal floors. He warns Blood that once they get there, he won't know his way around. As they moved on, Blood cruelly kicks away Cheese's dog when they reach the royals' floor through a secret door. Blood and Cheese split up in their search for Aemond. When Blood goes to lay out rat traps, he was caught by a handmaid and he tells her that he was laying out traps for the rats. Apparently not believing him, she immediately fled with Blood, turned around and lay out the traps. Alarmed by this, the latter, after setting up the traps, goes to look for the maid, but she is already gone, and he knew that it would only be a matter of time until the castle guards are roused. While looking for Cheese, he suddenly hears a commotion from nearby, and finds Cheese holding his knife to Queen Helaena Targaryen's neck. Not recognizing her, Blood demands Cheese on who she is, and the rat catcher reveals her identity. Thinking that Cheese wants to kill her, he reminds him of Daemon's order, but Cheese points across the room, and Blood finds Prince Jaehaerys and his sister Princess Jaehaera sleeping in their beds. However, as the two appeared to look the same, Blood and Cheese couldn't tell which of them is Jaehaerys. Wanting to rush immediately before the guards are alerted, Blood correctly claims that Queen Helaena knows which of the two children is her son, and Cheese forces her to point the son out, threatening to bleed the hell out of her and her children if she refused. A terrified Helaena tries to offer them her necklace, claiming it is of value. Though Blood takes it, he nevertheless rejects it, telling her that the necklace is not a son. Seeing Cheese continue to threaten her with his knife, the queen, knowing she could only save her daughter, Jaehaera, reluctantly points to her sleeping son. Blood seems to believe her until he thinks that Princess Jaehaera is Prince Jaehaerys, assuming that Helaena is trying to trick them. However, Cheese knew that the queen is being honest, so they let her go. While Blood covers Jaehaerys' mouth to prevent the boy from screaming loudly, Queen Helaena, watching in horror as Blood and Cheese murder her son, goes to get Princess Jaehaera from her bed just as the two assassins murder Jaehaerys. As she quietly scooped her daughter up and fled the room, Blood and Cheese began removing Jaehaerys' head. Reaching Alicent Hightower's chambers, where she is making love with Sir Criston Cole, Helaena collapsed onto the floor with her daughter in her arms, and she reveals to her mother that her son was killed, leaving Alicent in shock. Blood and Cheese successfully escaped the Red Keep undetected, while Cheese remained in King's Landing, presumably to lay low. Blood decided to flee from the capital so he could deliver Prince Jaehaerys' head to Prince Daemon. Meanwhile, as the Greens and their council had received word of Jaehaerys' assassination, all of the castle servants were forcibly rounded up for interrogation, while the Gold Cloaks were put on high alert and security was heightened. Upon learning of his son's murder, King Aegon flew into a violent rage and immediately declared war on Rhaenyra, as he believed her to be responsible for it. At the Gate of the Gods, Blood was eventually caught while escaping and Jaehaerys' head was found in a sack. The former was then taken to the dungeons, where Larys Strong will interrogate him through torture. Before the Master of Whisperers could even begin, Blood, consumed with fear, immediately confessed that he and Cheese were paid half by Daemon Targaryen and half for completing the task. In addition, he revealed to Larys that he was assisted by a rat catcher, who was hired by the royal household, but he admits he doesn't know the man's real name. When Blood fearfully asks Larys if he's going to hurt him, the latter says he isn't, and he also is not going to vouch for King Aegon. Blood was shocked and even more terrified when Aegon II entered his cell, before the latter eventually kills him with a mace. As he was informed that Blood was helped by a rat catcher, Aegon executes all of the rat catchers in the Red Keep's employ, before having their bodies hung from the castle's ramparts. However, unbeknownst to King Aegon, Cheese was among the executed rat catchers. Thus, with his and Blood's death, Prince Jaehaerys' murder was avenged. The actions of Blood and Cheese, alongside Prince Daemon, would come to damage Rhaenyra's reputation and cause. Ser Otto Hightower began spreading the false belief that Rhaenyra is responsible for Prince Jaehaerys' murder in an attempt to turn the public against her, which ended up working, as during Jaehaerys' funeral procession, Queen Helaena had received an overwhelming amount of sympathy from the small folk, who began to denounce Rhaenyra as a kinslayer, with a man even nicknaming her the Monstrous. However, this would soon fade away when King Aegon executed all the rat catchers, which earned him the hatred of countless small folk, including the families of the executed rat catchers. When the murder and funeral of Prince Jaehaerys reached Dragonstone, Rhaenyra was horrified to learn that she is blamed for the princeling's death. Though she ordered for ravens to be sent out to the realm with the message of denying the allegations, her maester, Geradus, tells her that denial would not be received in good faith. Lord Bartimus Celtigar, Rhaenyra's master of coin, adds in that the Black's position is greatly damaged as a result of the assassination, and Sir Alfred Broom believes it would not be long for an aggrieved mother to seek revenge for her son's death. Rhaenyra refutes this and states that she doesn't bear any ill will towards Helaena before discovering Prince Daemon is likely the true culprit. She confronts him in private, and Daemon admits his responsibility for Jaehaerys' death. Rhaenyra angrily notes that the boy's death had weakened her claim to the Iron Throne, and she now had to struggle with raising her own armies to support her in battle. She ultimately came to distrust her uncle/husband and sees his loyalty as questionable at best. So what did you guys think of the Blood and Cheese incident by both the books and the TV show? Please let me know in the comments down below. If you haven't already, please be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And also a quick reminder that anyone who becomes a join member at any level will get a thank you banner at the beginning of every video and a shout out at the end. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next video.